How do you write feedback? I'm curious. Hello there, it's Teacher Marilyn again. I'm making a video about writing feedback. When do you write feedback? I'm curious. VIPKid Teachers, do you actually have enough time if you log out at the 25-minute mark to write all your feedback? I struggle with that. I usually can copy and paste my feedback if I have it pre-written, like kind of a template, but it's hard for me to write in-depth feedback in that 3-minute window. How do you do it? I'd like to know. Put it in the comments below. I'm actually doing my feedback right now. Sometimes it can get a little complicated for me because I want to write in-depth feedback for parents and then really concise but useful feedback for teachers. Y'all, my hair is a mess. I was wearing my Santa hat in class. I think it shows.
My first tip is structure.
What I like to do is I greet the parents, I do feedback sandwich, I'll explain that, and then finally I actually address the student. The first thing that I do is I greet the parent. I always say hello or hello again. It was so nice to see Bao Bao in class today. And then I right away say something that was very strong in the lesson, something the student did really well. Bao Bao was using full sentences today. Excellent. So a feedback sandwich. I mean, technically it's a sandwich, right? Meat in between slices of bread. It's a whatever. Okay. So the feedback sandwich. I Googled this a long time ago. How do you write feedback? Feedback VIPKid. I searched for this because I wanted to know how to write effective feedback. And if you haven't taken the workshop on how to write effective feedback, please go look for it. These are a free resource for you and they are so helpful. All of the workshops that were created are typically based on negative parent reviews. And so these workshops are an excellent source of professional development. It means that you care about your job and you care about your students. So please sign up for this workshop. I was able to find something called the feedback sandwich. People reference it all the time. Now I'm hungry. I just want to eat a sandwich. Feedback sandwich means you start with positive. If you have negative or areas of growth or things to work on, that goes in the middle. And you end it on a positive note. What else did Bao Bao do really well? So positive, negative, positive. I usually like to focus on the main objectives and what we covered and whether or not the student was able to do them or needed a lot of my help. If there is a lot of room for growth for Bao Bao, then you want to make sure not to focus too much on the negative. You can write feedback in a positive way. I was able to help Bao Bao say a full sentence. Bao Bao did a great job repeating this after me. Next time, I'd love to see him say that on his own. So it gives them something to practice, but it's said in a way that's not just like, Bao Bao didn't want to talk on his own. And I had to keep repeating it for him to say anything. Now, I might be thinking that in the middle of the lesson, but you plaster that smile on your face and you tell Bao Bao one more time and try it again. But you want to be very loving and caring. These are your students and these are their children. So please make sure you are constructive with any criticism or any area of growth that you have to suggest to the parent. In the middle of that feedback sandwich, if the student doesn't really have areas of improvement necessarily, nothing that they're struggling with, you can use that space to just talk about what the student worked on in the lesson and how you're going to use that to foster their growth as a speaker of English. Remember, these lessons are geared toward output, student output. So the more they talk, the more they will learn, and the happier the parents will be that they are signing our checks. This area can be a helpful place to talk about parts of the lesson that maybe seem like, why are we doing this? I know in those really early level 1 classes, some of the activities on the slide just show different faces and funny sounds. And the whole point of it is to get the student to listen to something and respond to it. And if they're willing to repeat sounds that are silly or animal sounds or car and telephone or explosion sounds, then it's a way to engage the student, but explain that in the feedback. Another way to put it would be something the child did that was excellent, or they have mastered an area where they are struggling or developing, and then back to an area that they have mastered. And that way the parents know their student is making progress. And after all of that, I always have a plan. I always have a plan of action that shows that I am interested in the growth of their student. Bao Bao needed my help to say full sentences today, and in our next class, I will practice the sentence that we said today. That way there is continuity between the lessons. Parents will most likely book you again if you have a plan of improving their students' progress.
My fifth tip is to personalize your feedback.
I greet the parents, I do feedback sandwich, and then finally, I actually address the student. I say, Bao, you did an excellent job in today's lesson. And I just want to be excited and let the student know that I saw them and noticed them and want to affirm them personally. And then sometimes I just say something that is unrelated to the lesson. I hope you get to play outside today. I hope you and your friends talk about different colors in English. I love knowing that your favorite color is orange. Tigers are orange. It continues to draw the student out even after the lesson is over. As the parent reads this personalized feedback, they're going to communicate it to their student, and then that gives them something to talk about. Did you tell teacher that your favorite colors are orange and yellow? That's what she put in the feedback. Excellent feedback is one of the ways that I get 5 Apple feedback. I have taught 315 classes, and I have 163 5 Apple reviews. So I have a fairly decent feedback rate from parents. And I think in large part, it's because I write very personalized feedback to them. I don't just want them to think I copied and pasted a template. Teachers, you know that we don't need to reinvent the wheel. If the feedback template is already written, use it, but don't use it in its exact verbiage. You have to know that these parents talk, right? Like little Johnny and little Susie's moms go to book club together and they're like, why is this feedback identical? Think about it. What if you teach 2 friends? Then their parents definitely talk. Leave personalized feedback, not just their name, but something personal about that student and their growth.
Tip number 6, submit it as soon as possible.
Making sure to submit your parent feedback within that hour is really important. So if you are teaching back-to-back classes and you teach a ton of classes, I would recommend trying to figure out how to get your templates ready and stick it in within that 3 and 4 minute window in between classes, because parents probably want to know, how did it go? Especially with a trial class. If you're teaching a trial class, get that feedback in as soon as you can. If you have that immediate feedback right after class, they're more likely to sign up with VIPKid. Write your feedback, do it quickly, make it personal. My 5 Apple feedback rate is at 55%. I didn't even know that until I looked at my stats. Look, I'm not trying to brag or anything. And what I'm trying to do is share some tips with you to help you get your 5 Apple reviews. If you write excellent feedback, you will most likely get that feedback from parents for you. It shows that you care. It shows that you want their student to succeed, which of course you do.
Tip 7, include anything you need to explain.
One more thing that's helpful to include in the feedback is any type of information that you need to explain. If something went wrong on your end, for example, if you had to refresh your classroom, switch lines, etc., put that in the feedback. Explain to the parents before they can talk to their LP what went wrong on your end, and that way they already know that you are aware of the situation. This is a place where you can communicate with the parents directly, so you want to utilize it and be professional about it. Own up to any mistakes that you made. If there's something specific that you need to send an apology for, there's actually that section at the bottom of the feedback form. So you may not want to put it in the formal feedback because that can be shared. Just like we can share the parent feedback we receive, and there's that button and you can share it onto social media, they do the same thing. So if you write anything that's going to make you look bad, that can be shared on their social media. You need to be really careful about how you word things, any typos, using the correct name, and above all, just be professional. What type of feedback would you want? If you were that parent and you had a child and you're paying for these classes, what would you expect from their teacher? I would expect very detailed, very specific, very personalized information. Now, I know I just said all these different things that you want to include in your feedback, but you really do want to keep it short and sweet. You don't need to type out every single thing they did in that lesson. If they want to go back and watch the video, they can do that, and you can even say that. So really, only focus on a few things when you're writing your feedback and make it personal.
And now for teacher-to-teacher feedback.
I would love to learn what you look for in teacher-to-teacher feedback. What are you looking for? Do you even check that? Or does that not matter as much to you? What type of information would you like from other teachers? When other teachers write it, I am so appreciative. If you don't, I totally understand. That's fine. You do you. I don't keep notes on my students in a notebook or even digitally. I put it in the teacher-to-teacher feedback. That way I have a record of what happened in our class and what I'd like to work on in the future. I want to stay accountable to what I've said to the parents. There are two things that I always include in my teacher-to-teacher feedback. The first is what reward I used, because sometimes a reward is so successful with a student, I want to use it again. And then other times it is successful, but I like to mix it up and don't want to repeat it too many times. So I will go back and see, oh, I used my mermaid magnets with this student 4 times. Let's switch it up. The second thing I include in my teacher-to-teacher feedback is the student-to-teacher speaking ratio. I like to know and have an idea, how much did I talk during this lesson and how much did the student talk? Because the whole goal of VIPKid is to produce student output. I always find it helpful if a teacher includes how a student behaves, what they're capable of, and doesn't just copy and paste the feedback they gave to the parents. But honestly, something is better than nothing.
There you have it, my 8 tips for writing great feedback.
Writing feedback does not have to be as complicated as we might make it out to be. So my question for you at the end of this is, what other types of videos would you like to see? There is so much VIPKid content in the land of YouTube. So VIPKid teachers, what would you like to see here? Prospective teachers, what are you curious about? Leave me a comment below and let me know what types of videos you would like me to produce. I hope this quick video is helpful. Please click like and remember to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you again soon. Happy teaching, fam. Anyway, I feel a little bit self-conscious, but it's fine. My kids are trying to play the theme from Gremlins. It's December. Gremlins is in our Christmas movie rotation. I know that's not typical for most people. It was so nice to see. I don't think I can make this video. The piano is crazy. It's gonna be so loud. I think I should just wait.